Okay, well, we'll just talk through it. But what I wanted to do in this live stream was give an update on the real estate market, where we're at. It would have been a lot easier if I could share the chart, and I don't know how to do that, but I'm gonna just talk through the stats. As you probably know, the Cincinnati real estate market, basically the real estate market everywhere, has been crazy, and but we're starting to see some trends that are a little bit different that I wanted to make you guys aware of. So if you're set up for what I don't know how to share them on here. I should have done research before this YouTube live. I'm sorry, I'm new to this. Please bear with me. But the first thing I wanted to share is a chart that shows the median price sold in the Cincinnati market. And I took Hamilton, Butler, and Warren counties over the last 2 years. So in June of 2019, we have data from June to June, 19 to 21. In June of 2019, the median price sold in Cincinnati, just single family, was $229,950. You take that forward 2 years, and the chart basically goes up, and the median price in June of 2021, this year, is $289,400. So it went from basically $230,000 to $290,000. So about a $60,000 leap, or a 25% change in 2 years in terms of the median price sold, that's a lot. I mean, if you have been watching the real estate market, you know, and you've probably seen either you sold your home or your neighbor sold your home, and you're like, whoa, they got how much for it? And it's made you think about selling your house. If you're trying to buy a house right now, obviously that's been a huge challenge. So guys, I see a few of you on here. Feel free to pop in the chat any questions you might have about buying or selling a house in real estate or in Cincinnati. I'm just giving you a little bit of a market overview. But welcome aboard. This is our first live stream. I was late. I put the wrong link up. Yeah, I've got to learn how to do live stream a little bit better. Sorry. Okay, so median price is up 25%. Next chart I had was median and average price. And basically, the average price is very similar to in terms of percent change increase over the last 2 years. The average price in Cincinnati in June 2019 was $276,000, and it's gone all the way up to $340,000. That's a 23% increase. So both the median and the average sale price, we're seeing the same thing, is up roughly 23, 24, 25% over the last 2 years. Now, that makes sense. If you're looking at the prices of housing, or if you're looking at selling your house, that makes sense with what you're seeing. Now, what does that mean from a supply and demand standpoint? If you guys remember your basic economics, when there is low supply, which is what we're in right now, and high demand, what happens to price? Price goes up. If you have high supply and low demand, prices go down. And typically in real estate, that cycle of supply and demand is about 7 years, where there's a market correction, where there might be a bull market for 7 years and then a bear market where it resets. When I got into real estate in the end of 2017, the beginning of 2018, we were basically pushing that 7 year, about that 7-8 year window. And so for the last 3-4 years, the more experienced agents in my office have been saying, it's a great time to sell. It's a great time to sell, and do it now because the interest rates are low for buyers. And, we're probably going to see a correction. And then COVID hit, and everyone thought for sure we were going to see a correction. All of the real estate language that was coming out was be prepared for a shift, because the market's going to shift and it's not going to be as hot as it was the last few years. And that's basically completely wrong. When COVID hit, the opposite happened. And what you saw was real estate prices continued to go up because demand got even stronger. If you think about it, what you had was a bunch of millennials basically who were either renting or living in an apartment or something like that, and said, you know what, I want to buy a house now. I don't want to be close to other people. And so you had even more supply than when COVID started, and you already had I'm sorry, more demand, and you already had high demand, but you even got more when COVID hit. And then on the supply side, you had low supply because builders hadn't caught up. And for the last 10 years, they haven't built a bunch of single family houses. They put a lot of that time and energy into multifamily or building houses that are like that second, third, or fourth house for buyers. And so, but then you had COVID. And so the people who were going to sell at the beginning of 2020 decided that they didn't want to sell, right? Or about 30% of them who were planning on selling were like, you know what? We don't know much about this virus. It's a worldwide pandemic. I don't really want to have people in my house. And so let's just wait this out. And so you had even stronger demand from people who wanted a house, and you had even lower supply. So what has that done to prices over the last 2 years? It's just made it even higher, right? Like prices have gone up even more. Supply has gotten even tighter. And so this chart I have on supply and demand for units in June of 2019, the amount of units in Cincinnati for sale was 5,493. In June of 2021, the amount of units for sale was 3,393 units. The 2,100 drop in units, or 38% change drop. So 2 years ago, we were saying it's a seller's market and sellers were getting great prices for their homes. 2 years later, there's a 38% drop in the amount of units for sale. If you're a seller, you are loving life right now because there is not a lot of inventory out there and there's really strong demand from buyers. And that's why you can put your house out there and get a great price for it, a great price for it. Now, if you are a buyer, you're hating life, right? Let me say, if you guys are on here, say something in the chat. Would love to say hi. Welcome to the stream. And so this is kind of where we're hitting right now, which is buyers in 2021 have really had a hard time. And I think what's happening to the cycle is this, everyone's hearing that from different real estate agents. You're hearing that it's a great time to sell, but a hard time to buy. And so a lot of people who are thinking about selling were kind of like, okay, I could get a lot of money for my house, but then I have to buy. And so what's the point? It's kind of a wash, right? I can sell my house for a lot of money. But why would I want to and buy one when it's kind of a wash? Like, so unless you really have a need, unless you're trying to upgrade your home and get extra bedrooms because your family's growing, or unless you're trying to downgrade your home, maybe because maybe the kids are out of the house and now you don't need as much space, or maybe you're relocating. Unless you have a reason, it's kind of kept people from buying and selling. And what I'm starting to see, back in late February, March, April, May, especially, the market was super hot. I mean, super hot. You put something out there, there might be 5, 10, 20 offers, 30 offers. If you wanted to win as a buyer, you had to go over asking price. You maybe had to waive inspections. You needed to be a conventional buyer, maybe even have cash. You had to bring your A game if you wanted to win a house. What I'm seeing lately, and I've been talking to other agents about this in June and July now, is people are kind of like burnt out by that process. And so the people who were super aggressive and were able to come in strong and they needed a house early on in this year, a lot of those people won houses, but a lot of those people lost, right? If there was 20 offers, you had 19 buyers who didn't win. And it's a super emotional process to do what you got to do to go see a house, think through the offer, put an offer out there, and only to lose. And maybe even like put in an offer over asking only to lose. And maybe even put in an offer with an escalation clause of 30 grand over asking price and still lose. And if you do that once or twice or 3 times, you don't want to do that again. It's not fun, right? It's not fun to, plan your weekend so that you can go out, look at houses, put in an offer. You have to wait until the sellers collect all the other offers and wait, and you're waiting on them. And it's like, this is just no fun. And then they get back to you and say, sorry, you lost. Someone outbid you by $5,000 or whatever. And it's like, what am I doing with my life? Is what a lot of buyers are thinking right now. And so that's why I've done a lot of videos on my channel on new construction, honestly, where it's like, you might be paying a little bit more for new construction, but you're getting a brand new house and you can avoid all the hassle of the circus that has been the real estate market for this year. So that's a big reason why I've kind of said, like, look, new construction might be the way to go. I mean, in a resale home, you're probably going to get more square footage for your dollar, most definitely, than new construction. But you got to be ready to jump in the circus, and you got to be ready to, make sure that you can be aggressive, that you're looking at houses that are under your max budget so that you can bid over, and you got to have a strategy on how to win. And if you have a good agent, you can win the house, and you can get creative with how to get in front of that seller and win. And maybe up your odds versus the other buyers, but it's a bit of a jungle out there. So, hey, welcome to the live stream, guys. If you're here, I'm just trying to give a little bit of an overview of the market. If you have any real estate questions that you want answered, this is an open Q&A. So besides just an update on the Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky real estate market, would love to answer any questions you have. And I totally botched the link. I tried to schedule this live stream, and then my camera wasn't working. I'm new to this, guy, so give me some grace. This is my first one. Maybe next week I won't watch the calendar so much. There's one other chart I wanted to show, which was the month's supply of inventory. And so what this stat shows, realtors look at this a lot to give us an idea of how hot the market is. And what it basically means is, how long would it take if no new inventory came on the market on the MLS, how long would it take to sell all of the current inventory on the market? And so we're looking at June 2019 and June 21. In June 2019, that number was 1.9 months, which is historically low for inventory. And what that means is, if in June of 2019, if no new inventory came on the market, if no new sellers were selling their home, it would take 1.9 months for everything to be sold, based on the average days on market, based on the demand and all that. Okay, so that was June 2019. If you look at the chart and you go forward to June 20 and June 21, we moved from a historically low 1.9 months of inventory. Normally that number is like 6 months. It was at 1.9 months. In June 21, the inventory that's out there, the length of time it would take to sell it all is 0.6 months, which is just bonkers. The inventory is so low right now. It's so low. And you know this, if you're trying to buy a house, you're like, where are all the houses? And you know that they're gone in like 20 minutes, right? Or you have to bid some kind of crazy amount. And so we're in a problem. People keep waiting, and people keep kind of saying to me, hey, I'm going to sell, and then I'm going to wait for the market to drop before I buy, which in theory is a good idea. It would make sense that if you think the real estate market is really hot and I want to wait till it cools off before I buy. The problem with that idea is there's 0.6 months supply of inventory on the market right now, which is just like nothing. There is just like no homes out there. And so there has to be a major correction if we just go back to supply and demand. In order for price, because demand is so high, because supply is so low, right? Has to be some kind of correction. There has to be, demand has to slow down and inventory has to go up for prices to go down. And so what's going to cause that? What could potentially cause that to happen? And guys, feel free again to leave your comments in the chat or any questions you have. But in order to do that, there's one thing that could happen, right? So if we go back, what people are thinking in their mind is they're thinking about the 2008 recession, and they're thinking, well, I know the market was hot then, and then the market flipped, and then we had all this inventory on the market. We had all these foreclosures on the market and that's going to happen again. That's kind of what people are thinking, is like, then all the supply gets on the market and the prices come down, and then I can go buy something on sale. Well, problem with that thinking is this: it's not 2008. It's a different set of underlying fundamentals in the real estate market right now. In 2008, what was happening was you had a bunch of people getting loans they shouldn't have got. Right? You had some really bad lending practices where lenders were just giving out money to anyone, and so people were buying houses that they really couldn't afford. That was one part of it. The other part, of course, was the subprime mortgage. All this mess happened, and then when those mortgages got called in and these people couldn't actually afford the mortgage, then you had massive amount of foreclosures throughout the country. And so then you had all this housing supply rise and prices dropped because the demand wasn't there. That's not happening right now. You fast forward to 2021, and that's not what's going on. We don't have a bunch of bad lending practices. A lot of that got cleaned up. And so now we do have a different scenario in this, what's going on with the jobs and wages, and a different scenario we're facing right now is the inflation that's coming. And so during COVID, there's been kind of a moratorium on foreclosures, and there's a lot of people who are probably behind on their payments, but the government told the banks, you can't foreclose right now. And so what happens in terms of that legislation, and when that gets lifted and banks can start foreclosing again, then we should see some supply back on the market. Now, it's kind of sad to say, like, nobody likes when people lose their houses. But in terms of getting some supply back on the market, that is one thing that can happen that will start lifting this current low supply. And when that's going to happen and how, nobody really knows. It should start, and it might take a year or two for it actually to funnel out. If the government does allow the banks to start foreclosing again and stops allowing the forbearance and moratorium on foreclosures. So that could certainly happen. And that will lift some. But overall, there's a lot less people who got loans that they couldn't afford than in 2008. So that's one component of now versus then. Second component is, like, for the last 10 years, builders have not caught up. And so they're starting now to kind of catch on of like, oh, we could sell anything. But one problem with that is they're mostly building homes that are not for first-time home buyers. And so you're not seeing a ton of homes being built by, in that $150,000 to $250,000 range, because if they build the $350,000 to $650,000 house, that house is getting bought up. So if you're a builder and you can make $100,000 on a house, maybe it's not that much. Let's say it's $50,000 versus $20,000. What are you going to do? You're going to build the one that you can make 50 grand on all day long, right? And so that's a problem. I mean, they're building in that they know that the demand is there, but they aren't necessarily meeting the demand of that first-time home buyer, and that puts a lot of people in a pinch in terms of how much supply coming out. Third thing is that inflation is a thing, right? And everyone knows it's coming. Everyone is starting to feel it in their paycheck. And when inflation happens, home prices go up. They don't go down. So that's another thing too. So that's, guys, I wanted to give you that market update. What's going on in Cincinnati is happening in a lot of places. Home prices, just to recap here. In the last 2 years, home prices, the median home price is up 26%. The average inventory is down 38%, the amount of units that are for sale. And the month of supply is down 67% from 1.9 months to 0.6. That's in the Cincinnati market. So it's still kind of crazy. And I think what we're feeling a little bit right now is everyone's been in this market for the last year or two, and they're like, this is nuts. And I'm just going to sit it out and wait to see what happens. Both buyers and sellers, I think, are kind of feeling that a little bit. So I think it's loosening up a little bit, I think. But the question is, where is the supply going to come from? Where are the houses going to come from on the market? So, all right, guys, thank you for watching. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I'll give you one more chance before I kind of head out of this live stream. But if you have any kind of real estate question, let me know. Please check out the channel. We've got tons of real estate content and tons of content around buying and selling homes, and also just kind of living in Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky and what that is like. We're trying to do this live stream to give you guys a little a chance to ask some questions and get those answered. Maybe we'll schedule this again in a few. Maybe I won't have such technical difficulties when I do it again. We shall see. I'm trying to figure it out. Who knows? But thanks for watching. If you're here, thanks for joining in. Fiat, what's up? And I'll give it just another second here. A question. All right. Fiat, what's the best way to get a handle on prices on agricultural land? Are you talking here in the Ohio area or just anywhere? Yeah, land prices, there's similar dynamics in terms of supply and demand, and especially if you're trying to buy around a metropolitan city area. Oh, you're in Northern Kentucky. Heck yeah. If you're buying smaller lots, those can be available, and you're wanting to build on those or something like that. You can get, you can kind of price out per acre. And what I would do is, contact a realtor. You can contact me if you want. And what you want to see is just sales. So if you're in Northern Kentucky, whether that's Campbell or Boone or Kenton County or somewhere around there, you just want to get a price per acre. And so look at recent sales of acreage that have sold and kind of divide out the acres by the sale price. That's basically it. And then you're trying to think through utilities and just location and access to other amenities. That's kind of how you're thinking through the price. Big chunks of land there, what I talked about before in terms of builders realizing that the demand is there. Builders are trying to buy land right now. And so you're kind of competing on big chunks of parcels of land with local builders like Fisher Homes and Drees and MI Homes and Miranda, builders like that. And so so even land has been going up as well. That's what happens. That's what happens with supply and demand. That's what happens with inflation. So I hope that answers your question. Yeah, good. Thanks for asking. Any other questions? Let me know. Whether you're looking to buy in Cincinnati or Northern Kentucky. And if you're looking to build, you're welcome. Whitney Thornton, awesome. Thanks for asking. We're buying at the end of next month. We're wanting a 1/2 acre to 2 acres with a home. What are the most welcoming neighborhoods? Awesome. Good question. Whitney, does it matter if it's Ohio or Kentucky for you? 2 acres could be hard. You might have to get out, certainly outside the 275 loop if you're looking in Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky. There's a lot of welcoming neighborhoods. Oh, come on, camera. Sorry for the blurriness. There's a lot of areas I like. I live in Fort Thomas, but part of my community, my church community, is out in Campbell County, past Alexandria in the Grants Lick area. I think that area is amazing. It doesn't matter within 45 minutes of Blue Ash. Okay, so you're probably working in Blue Ash, where a lot of development is happening on the northern side of city. If you're going into Blue Ash, I would probably recommend so that you don't have to fight the traffic all the time, is you stay in that Westchester, Mason, Lebanon, Morrow area. I like that Lebanon, Morrow area a lot. You could probably find some land up there. It's got a really cool feel. And then as you're going, I don't know if this is the right side of my hand on the map, but if you're going east, even around Loveland and Milford, kind of that northeast areas. I mean, all of those are some really cool communities, I think, in terms of buying some land and finding a home, or maybe on a half acre to 2 acres out there. I think those are really cool. Then you can kind of just zip in whichever way you're coming and hit 71 down to Blue Ash for a fairly quick commute if that's where your work is. Great question. Thanks for asking. We're buying at the end. So are you, Whitney, do you have to sell another home, or are you renting right now? And by the way, in terms of welcoming neighborhoods, another resource for you, in fact, I'll put it on here. Give me 1 second. Where you can get a quick overview of different neighborhoods is this niche.com. I really like this as opposed to Zillow or something like that. And it gives you kind of grades on the housing, or I'm sorry, the schools and safety. It's really nice. We're actually moving from Oregon, and our house is closing this week. Okay, awesome. Congrats. That's amazing. So yeah, Whitney, I'd love to help if here, I'll put my email on here. If you're not working with an agent already, I'm not sure if you are, I'd be happy to set up a search for you in the MLS and see if we can find something for you. But yeah, shoot me a note and we could touch base if you're not working with someone already. What part of Oregon are you from? It's so pretty. The Northwest is just like amazing. I went up there for a month to Seattle, but we went down to Portland, and this was when my family was young. We went to Portland. We did Mount Hood. Oh my gosh. And like is it the Cherry Loop or something like that? Or the Fruit Loop, right? That was amazing. Then we went to Cannon Beach. That's where we went to. Yeah, that was amazing. I just had one kid then. I have 5 kids now. So that trip would be a little harder to pull off, but yeah, have some friends out that way. Any other questions? Happy to answer. I love that you guys are jumping in on the chat. I totally botched the link on this thing. I tried to preview my live stream and my camera wasn't working. And so I pushed live, but it was just like a blank screen. The camera wasn't working. So I'm like, oh no. And the only button I saw was like end stream. So I pushed that and I totally botched the link that I shared on social. So sorry for that. But some of you found this. I don't know how you did, but I'm glad you're here. You're from Portland. We have a realtor right now, but we've been enjoying your videos. Awesome. Well, I'm sure that other realtor is terrible. I'm just kidding. If you got a realtor, that's great. Yeah, what have been your favorite? I'm always trying to figure out what is helpful to people. I'm still kind of building this thing out, but I watch YouTube like every night, and so I find it the best way. I don't know. I just think it's great. But I'm curious, what has been really helpful to you in watching the videos so that I can make more of that for more people would be cool. Any of you who are here, drop in the chat. I'd love to hear from you. If you guys have subscribed to the channel or if you've watched any of the videos on the channel, what have been helpful to you guys? I've been thinking of this video that I want to make. If you've done any Google search on Cincinnati, you've probably like read about Cincinnati chili, and like you're probably weirded out about putting chili on spaghetti and smothering it with cheese. And it is a weird thing. It's a very weird thing. I moved here when I was almost 7 years old from Michigan. My family moved down here in 1988. And the first time I had chili, it was at Gold Star Chili. And I was like, I'm like, what is this thing? This is so weird. And so I was thinking of doing a video on like the 5 stages of Cincinnati chili, where you go from like, that is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen, to waking up at like 2 a.m. You're like, I have to have it. Because if you live here long enough, it kind of just like gets in your bloodstream. I don't know how, but it seeps in. So just, I was thinking of doing a video on that, taking my kids to Skyline and shooting that video. James, what's up? We've chatted. Your videos on the neighborhoods of Cincinnati. Can you please do more of activities of OTR over the Rhine? Yeah, I could do that. Now, granted, what you might do in Over the Rhine and what I might do in Over the Rhine might be different. I am 39 and married and have 5 kids, ages 10 to 1. And so, you know, certain activities in Over the Rhine aren't I don't know. There's a lot to do down there. What have I done? I've done Washington Park, and what are some of my favorite things to do down there? Or, I mean, the restaurants and bars are just awesome. My favorite restaurants down there are Bakersfield, awesome taco place, amazing margaritas. Their cheese dip is like super good. And their guac is awesome. Great tacos. I love the Eagle, which is super affordable fried chicken place, like really good fried chicken and like $2 beers and cool setting and just like southerny comfort food type place. I love that place. Where else do I like to go? Kwan Hapa is one of my favorites, which is an Asian, you know, you can get ramen there and some different things that is just super good and tasty. You know, we love going to Washington Park. The Symphony is awesome down there, which we don't do a lot, but I just think Music Hall is such an incredibly beautiful building. Then you got the breweries. You know, Rice is one of my favorites to go down to, and in fact, even take the kids to, which is Rhinegeist is actually one of my favorite places to go in the winter because you can get out of the house. It's spacious. They've got like cornhole and some different things, so it's somewhere the kids can actually run around. And just being in breweries are fun. So there's a couple breweries that are down there that are fun. You know, concert wise, like building a new concert outdoor area down by the banks, right by Paul Brown Stadium. So you could hop on the streetcar. It's free now. They're trying to ridership. And so you can pop on that and head down to the bank. So you really got all of downtown to do whatever you want. So yeah, Whitney, we liked your comparison videos. We love some of the park and neighborhood house tours. Awesome. You tried Skyline last winter and really liked it. Laugh out loud, but your hubby wouldn't try spaghetti. Yeah, I mean, it's weird, but he's gonna get here, and then like he's gonna see advertisements everywhere. And here's what's going to happen. And here's what I'm going to put in the video is you're going to show up at a friend's house for a party, or you're going to watch a Bengals game or something like that on TV. And somebody's going to have Skyline dip. And you're like, what is this? What is Skyline dip? And they don't serve Skyline dip at the restaurant, but Skyline dip is like the quintessential friends over party snack. And basically what it is like, it's so unhealthy, but it's so good. It's, you know, like a baking dish, and you just layer it with cream cheese, and then you pour a couple cans of Skyline on top of it, and then you layer more cheese on. It's just cheese and chili. And then you bake it. And so it's hot. It's melted cheese on top of the chili on top of cream cheese, basically. And you eat it with Frito scoops, and it's like mouth watering. It's so unhealthy, and it's so amazing. So Whitney, your husband's gonna, you're gonna see that at some point. You're gonna think of me, and you're gonna be like, "Oh, the skyline dip." Eric told us about this. D'Amber, what's up? Hello. So Whitney, comparison. Yeah, I want to do more of the park videos, neighborhood. I think, the videos in terms of activities, besides just like all the home tours, I think are helpful, and for somebody who's moving here trying to get a feel for it. So I don't have it edited yet, but like we just had the 4th of July parade in my hometown, and I took a little footage of that because that's a big deal there and super fun, and the whole town kind of comes out for that. But like, there's a lot of activities that are annual in Cincinnati, like the Flying Pig Marathon and Oktoberfest. It's hard for me. I want to do more of those videos, but like, I have 5 kids, so like, to be able to do a video like that's to be able to take my kids to go do something, to have the energy to do that, and then think through doing a video. I will try. I'll do my best. We will make this channel as Cincinnati as we can. So yeah, that's good feedback. Thank you for that. We call that chili cheese dip here in Oregon, though not Skyline, and sometimes done with Velveeta instead of cream cheese. All right, so you know what's going on. D'Amber, how safe is Cincinnati compared to other cities in Ohio? Hey, just curious, interested in moving to Cincinnati by next year. Yeah, good question. D'Amber, hit that link above in the chat, that niche.com that I put a little higher. And you can, so other major cities in Ohio are Columbus and Cleveland. I haven't really compared. My guess would be that it's actually safer than Cleveland. Columbus is more of a college town, so I don't know what the crime levels are like there, because Ohio State University is there. Cleveland, I think has a little bit more crime, but it's really, it just depends on the neighborhood you're at, like most cities. And Cincinnati, I know, like back in the 90s, there were some riots here, and that kind of carried on in the national idea of what Cincinnati is like in terms of safety, maybe a little longer than it should have. And so then, but after those riots, the Cincinnati police did a really good job of starting some neighborhood like associations, like working with people in the neighborhoods, and kind of creating coalitions in that way, where they've built up a lot of trust in the community. And that's gone a long way towards helping, I think, crime overall in the city. So yeah, I think those riots in the 90s like tarnished the image, and then like for a while it seemed like every Bengals player went to jail, every Cincinnati Bengals player. So that probably didn't help either. That was like the only national profile we had, is like Cincinnati's just I don't know, full of criminals. But it's very safe. There are certainly different very walkable communities that are very safe, and just depends on where you pick. And like most cities, some places have more crime than others. Just curious, moving to Cincinnati. Okay, D'Amber, awesome. James, I'll visit hopefully soon. Want to change? Cool. Me too. You're planning on going and checking out this weekend? Oh yeah, James. Yeah, if you need help weekend, let me know. James, I've been following the news in Columbus. I've seen a spike on shootings in the center of the city. The suburbs are ranked good though. Yep. Did I miss anything? Yeah, guys, thanks for popping in the chat. This is awesome. Yeah, D'Amber, if I can help you out again, I think my email's in this chat earlier, eric.sztanyo@kw.com, or I'll put in a number if you want to chat in person. This is the business phone number. Yeah, what other questions can I answer for you guys about Cincy? Yeah, you're welcome. Would love to help. Did this just pop up in your guys' YouTube feed? Is that how you found the chat? Because I totally, I totally botched the scheduling of this thing. Hopefully I won't botch it next week. I think I don't know. I got to figure some things out. Whitney, we're seeing that in Portland right now with all the riots here last year. We're kind of looking forward to a new start in Cincy area. Yes, last year was an interesting year for crime. Oh, as a realtor, I try to not get too political in these things. But there seems to be a fairly logical cause and effect to crime rates going up this year with, I don't know. I'm not even going to say it. But James, me too. I want to get out of Cape Cod. Cost of living has gone through the roof. Had enough of the tourist economy. Just notice it on my online notifications. Awesome. Well, cool. I appreciate you popping in, James. So you guys are subscribed then, which is awesome. Sweet. Thank you for subscribing. We popped over 500. I think I mentioned in a recent the 500 thank you 500 video, if you guys saw that, and we just got over 500. This is not PewDiePie, or like, you're never gonna get, like, once you guys move here, you probably don't need to watch this channel too much, right? Which is fine. And so the subscriber base, I know, will ebb and flow. But what I'm trying to do, like when I looked at Cincinnati real estate or just living in Cincinnati videos, there just seemed to be a bit of a void there. So I was like, people are moving in and out of the city all the time. Why not create some content that would help them? That's kind of the big idea here. I thought about that pros and cons video for a while, and I've been thinking of rebranding and doing a new logo and all this stuff. As a creator, you can like get caught up in trying to get the branding stuff right. And I've been working on that this year. But that can keep you from doing the content. And I'm just like, I just need to do the content. I don't care if my logo, I don't like it right now, which I don't love it. Or I don't have a cool intro, which I don't. I just want to make these videos. So I held off on that pros and cons video for a while. Then I'm like, I need to get this out there. Because I think when you're moving to the city, that was videos like that. And I've got one coming up. Actually, you guys are asking questions for a video that I'm doing, which is like relocating. I've already filmed it and it's edited, and I think it'll go out in 1 or 2 weeks. But it's like where to live in the city. Like, what are the different neighborhoods and what should you think through in terms of school districts and pricing and traffic and things like that. So that'll be coming soon. Whitney, yup, in my YouTube feed. Sweet. Whitney didn't realize it was a live at first. Oh, so yeah, well, maybe next time I'll just make it a Q&A. I tried to give it some content on the front end. I've got these charts and I don't even know how to share the charts so that you can see them. So I prepped for this thing and then realized maybe because it's just a webcam, you can't share your screen. I don't know. I thought it was going to be like a Zoom, and maybe I'm just missing something. I don't know. But I don't know how to share my screen. I don't think I have the right. I don't know, guys. I'm just a dude. I'm just a dude trying to figure this thing out. But clearly I need a producer. Amber, hopefully better things happen for us all globally. Amen. James, it's okay, Eric. Just stick to facts. You got it, man. Amber, thank you again, Eric. Can't wait to hopefully relocate in Cincy. Great day to you and all the chat. Thanks, Amber. Hope you find a great neighborhood and place. If it's not working out with your realtor, give me a shout. We'd love to help you. Whitney, smiley face. The only ones I've come across are you and Susie Cree. Yeah, I saw Susie. Focuses more on the city itself. Yeah, I try to do both. I mean, I live in the burbs, but I'm just trying to slowly give you a feel for everything. I mean, it's easiest for me to speak to families because that's the narrative I know. You know, if that's the target audience, I am that target audience. So it's like easier than, but I want to, you know, for the young professional who's moving here for a job or something like that, I do want to show more of the OTR stuff, like you're saying. And, you know, what does that life look like for someone in their 20s or 30s and single maybe still, or dating or whatever, or newly married without kids. Yeah, it's a city. I mean, like, the cost of living here allows you to do a lot. And there's a lot to do locally, but because it's so centrally located, it's also a great place, a launching pad for travel, right? Like you're 5 hours to Chicago, 4 hours to Nashville, you know, 8 to Atlanta. A lot of people go to Myrtle Beach or Hilton Head if they want to hit a beach, or you can go down to Florida. There's an international airport here. DC is like 7 hours east, 7 or 8 maybe. So, you know, you can have a lot of fun weekend road trips if you don't want to just hang around here, that don't cost much because we're so centrally located and you can drive there, which is kind of fun too. I'm planning a road trip up to Michigan. My cousin's getting married up in Michigan, but I want to take my kids to Lake Michigan, which like right across from Chicago. So we're looking at Warren Dunes State Park up there. That'd be really fun. Amber here, hoping we'll be neighbors soon. That would be awesome. James, you got any more questions for me? Do you have kind of your trip mapped out this weekend? Let me know if I can help with anything else as you're coming in to check stuff out. Trying to look at my weekend schedule. I usually, this is kind of weird for most people, but I usually take Friday night to Saturday off, which is really weird for a realtor. But one of the things my family does, and so our tagline is find your home, strengthen your family. And that was based out of this idea of we believe home is where families grow stronger together. And families can look like a lot of different things, right? Could be a big family like mine, could be just you and your dog. I don't know. Could be a lot of things. But but your home base is where you grow strong, right? And so the rhythms that you have in your house, like what you do on a day in and weekly basis, are really important in my opinion. And we've been crafting them in my home for, 15 years now. And we just had a couple from Louisville, Kentucky come up and chat with us a little bit. They just had their first kid and they were asking about our weekly rhythms. And for us, the biggest one and kind of the bedrock of our week is we take a day off. We take a Sabbath rest. And for me, that plots out from Friday night to like Saturday night or late afternoon. And so generally, I try to set expectations with my clients that I'm wide open Saturday afternoon and evening. I'm usually open on Sunday, except for when I go to church, which is every other week right now we meet. But Friday night to Saturday afternoon, we take a rest. And that rest for us, it's rest for my wife, who's been homeschooling and watching the kids for 5 weeks. And it's also like we rest physically, but we also do our most favorite things on that day. So like we watch a movie Friday night, we have a great meal. Saturday morning, I make pancakes for the kids. Usually, we usually go for a hike or do some kind of fun activity Saturday late morning, something like that. So just a heads up. Garrett, what's up? Guys, Garrett, Sean just joined the chat, and Garrett is my editor for the videos. So he took over editing. I need to start giving you more shout outs in the videos, Garrett. he started, when I started this channel, I was like, yeah, these videos are helpful because I did the cost of living video last year or maybe 2 years ago now. And like, that's my best performing video, I guess. But to do the video and to edit it is like, I couldn't consistently put out content with all the other things I have to do as a business owner and a realtor. And I'm a realtor on the residential side where I help people buy and sell. And I'm also like a cash buyer and an investor, and I flip houses. And so there's a lot of stuff to do all that. And to be able to shoot videos and edit them was not happening consistently at all. So I found Garrett, and Garrett is like editor extraordinaire. So all the edits you guys see are from him. So give him a shout out. He's been the man. Whitney, we're child free, so not as into the family stuff. We're looking forward to being close to lots of things and being able to afford life. Hear that. Yeah. So we certainly don't discriminate here. But I'm glad. This is really good to hear, like, that the content is still helpful for people, and I've tried to make it open like that, but I've also tried to make it where it's both. Like, I'm trying to create content that's useful to a lot of people, but also I generally try to think of like the avatar, right? That's like, okay, if there's a mom or whatever, or a dad, like and they were moving here, what do they want to know? So trying to do both of that stuff, but I'm really happy that it's helpful for you. And yeah, I'm trying to get that message out about the cost of living here. It's like, and it can only last for so long, right? Because if the message gets too far out that like the city's amazing and cheap, then it won't be. But Cincinnati's done pretty good at flying under the radar for 200 years. And I have a feeling it can continue. It's just it's got just enough, I think, to make it a great place to live, and just not enough where like people flood to it, if that makes sense. Most people are coming here because of family or work. And maybe the third thing is the cost of living, Whitney, like where you can afford life, like you're saying. So, yeah, I mean, I like, it boggles my mind. Some of my clients who have come in from California and real estate there, or even Whitney, you're in Portland, Seattle. It's like, oh my gosh, like a 3-bedroom, 2-bed ranch for like $700,000 or something, And here, 3-bedroom, 2-bed ranch is like, I don't know, 225, 250, and so that's a big difference. That is a big difference. James, I'm open for anything. I'd like to see the parks, Covington, more of OTR. Yeah, you'll be able to knock all that out like pretty quick, which is awesome. You want to see the Reds, but it looks like Cincinnati's going to get rain and lightning this weekend. It might be worth heading down to the game anyway, James, just to see the ballpark, because you can get in for, I don't know, $10-15 probably, especially if there's rain. Like, that knocks out a lot of people. And so just buy the cheapest seat and walk around the stadium. I think that would be worth it. And there's a few places both on the lower level and the upper level where like you're pretty free. I think I mentioned this in my Reds video. It's like, we're doing okay for us this year, but generally the stadium is not sold out. And so if you go down in the lower section, you're trying to get like super close, you'll probably have an usher yell at you, but anywhere in the upper deck, you can sit wherever you want. So go there just to check out the stadium and like the views from the stadium. It's really fun. It's just a fun environment. So I would, even if it rains, like if there, and you can catch part of the game or a few innings, it's worth $10 or $15 for that, for sure. Garrett watching from the Philippines. Woohoo! Flexible scheduling. Awesome. Yeah. If you want to meet up sometime, James, let me know. Welcome, Garrett. What type of church do you go to? Yeah, I haven't shared much on the church. I mean, we actually go to a home church right now. So non-denominational. I don't know. We were part of a ministry called Young Life, my wife and I, for years, which is like a ministry to high school students. And then we actually hosted a home church at our house for 3 or 4 years. Then we moved to a different part of town. And then we kind of got involved with like the mega church here in town. And now we're back with like, it's really fun. There's like 10 families and a lot of kids. And the reason we kind of just joined up recently back in March, we had known kind of some of the core families for many years, but we had been doing some home church with our neighbors, but our kids didn't really have any peers. Our neighbors' kids were older, and there were some other younger families who just had maybe like one kid that was younger, and we had 5 kids with no friends, basically. So we joined this other one where there's like 45 kids with 10 families. Like everyone has like 4 kids. So it's my kids are loving that. I'm editing as I watch your stream. Haha, thanks for the shout out. It's a team effort. Couldn't do things without your quality raw shots. Awesome. Yeah. It's been fun, Garrett, working with you. And I'm sure you guys have seen the quality get better and better. So it's fun building this channel with you, Garrett. I love having you on the team. Whitney, it's definitely good to talk about what you care about. I'm sure you help a lot of families. Thank you. Cape God's $500K for a 2-bedroom house. Yep. I mean, a 2-bedroom here you could get for $150 easy. In certain places of Covington. James, so if you're checking out Covington's like really big actually, and there's different parts of it. The most expensive part is right up by what's called Mainstrasse and the north side of Covington, like closer to the river. And then as you get south, and so that's been working its way, and a lot of rehabs have been happening down to like 12th Street, Martin Luther King Boulevard. And then south of that, it's still pretty affordable, but like can be a little bit more sketch in places down there. But then it kind of like does a little squiggly, and then you get into Latonia. And Latonia is kind of its own thing where it's super affordable there, and it's maybe hit or miss on the streets. Some streets are really nice, some are like, eh. And then it kind of shoots even further south into more suburban feel. So that's a little feel of Covington. Do you think the market is overwhelming right now? It seems like everyone in Cincy is freaking out about how busy it is, but it's nothing compared to Portland. We would not be able to afford a half acre here. It's like $500,000. Yeah, I think I'm not sure when you joined the chat, but that was kind of the first part of this live stream was like what's happening with the market. And I know it's basically the same thing all over the country from what I can tell. The appreciation the last 2 years has basically gone up like 25%, which in Cincy is a big deal. Like a good year of appreciation is like 4% here. So to go up 12%, 12 to 13 in the last 2 years is really high. I think, Whitney, what's happening is there's kind of burnout there. There's kind of burnout from both ends. Buyers are tired of losing out on houses that they put an offer on. And so they're like, I'm tired of this. I don't want to fight everybody now, which is weird. And sellers they're out, but the narrative is out there that yes, you'll be able to sell for more, but then you have to buy for more. And so a lot of sellers are holding back because they're like, well, why would I sell unless I have a really good reason to sell? Because I might make a lot of money on my house, but then I'm going to go lose it all buying the next house. And so it's kind of just hit this weird stagnancy, I feel like, where everything on the market still goes in like 2 days because the inventory is so low. But it feels like both sides are kind of like at a standstill. And what I was mentioning in the video before was like, until something happens with the inventory to kind of loosen this up, and really what it is like what's going to happen with the foreclosures that haven't happened over the last year because of COVID. So the government has they put a moratorium on allowing the banks to foreclose on anybody. And so You can go back in the stream. I talked about this more, but the idea was like in 2008, you had a big glut of foreclosures hit the market because you had a bunch of people getting loans that shouldn't have gotten loans. That's not really happening right now. And so even if the foreclosures do start hitting, I don't think it's going to impact the market in such a way that people have in their minds. I think what people have in their minds is 2008 and like, oh, it's going to drop and everything's going to be on sale then. And I could be dead wrong, but I don't see that happening. Plus inflation is like no joke. Like everything, when inflation happens, home prices go up. So yeah, that's my thought on it being overwhelming. Like the home church idea, not a big fan of big churches, but also hope to find some friends eventually. Yeah. We've got a thing on Wednesday nights. We call it Open Supper. You're all invited. Every Wednesday night, come out to Campbell County with us. It's just a potluck meal, and it's super fun. So if you want to see 45 kids running around on a couple acres, you'd really enjoy it. We'd love to have you. James, cool dude. Do you know how much it is to ride the river boats on the waterfront? Oh, it's not much. I don't know. Let me look that up. Being river boats is usually the one. I would guess like $20. I don't know, maybe less. B&B riverboats, dinner cruises, riverboat cruises. Let's see here. BB riverboats. I was calling it B&B. Here, I'll put this on here for you. Oh, if you want to do a whole dinner, I'm wrong. So if you want to do a dinner cruise, $66. Yeah, there was this thing. It's been a long time. Oh, but okay, there's some different prices here. Early evening sightseeing cruise, $28. So I was right. Yeah, you can get on it for about $30. So you can just do a sightseeing, but the dinner is $66. I wouldn't do that. There's better places to eat than these B&B riverboats, I'm sure. So ice cream social cruise, that's cool. Yeah, $30 and you can have a good time. Those are really cool. Going back to someone asked earlier about like cost of living and will it go up, or maybe I was just ranting. One of the reasons Cincinnati didn't become Chicago is because like in the 1800s, Cincinnati kind of rolled the dice on it being a river town, and public transportation using the river. So they never built a subway. There's actually abandoned subway tunnels in Cincy. So if you want to do a cool tour, that one's actually pretty fun to do. Underground, there's like these subway tunnels that they started, but they never built a subway. And so I think part of the slowing down of the growth of the city compared to other Midwest cities is the fact that the subway didn't happen. And because the city is kind of divided by the Ohio River, with the bulk of the people live in Ohio, and then maybe like a third of the people live in northern Kentucky, in the metro area of the like 2 million. That's roughly right. It's like 1.3 maybe in Cincinnati and like 600, 700,000 in northern Kentucky. But you've got the river in the middle, and so a subway through there is kind of tough. And then you also have Cincinnati is also called the city of seven hills, and so it's hilly, and so like it's not a grid like you go to Indianapolis and everything's just flat grid, and it's really easy to do city planning. Here it's like there are hills, and all these hills actually make up these different neighborhoods. So public transportation is hard, and that's why public transportation is mainly buses around town. And it's actually a pretty good system, but people just have weird stigmas about buses from maybe going to school. I don't know, like, but there's no subway, the streetcar downtown, and the whole push from the progressive side was like, need to be like a cool, edgy city, and all the cool, edgy cities like Portland, Whitney, have streetcars. In fact, I think there was a lot of the Cincinnati Council like went to Portland to like study how they did their streetcar, if I remember right. And then they put in the streetcar, and like the conservatives were all like, we can't afford it. And there was this big battle, and they built it, and it's like, it's like a mess, right? Because it's a loop from downtown to over the Rhine, and there's not a lot of people who live down there. And so the real idea where it would have really benefited was like if they could have, and this was the original idea, if they would have built it from uptown, which is where the University of Cincinnati is, and a lot of the hospitals are, and it's a big employment center with the university and the hospitals. And so if you could have brought those people down from uptown to over the Rhine and downtown, the banks, now you've got like people who would get off work and come down, go eat, and now you've got some better economics going on there. And suburbs, that was like the plan. But it out just on this loop downtown, and it was like a major flop because no one used it. Nobody paid for it. Like, it didn't come near. So all the conservatives were like, we told you so, like, we told you we couldn't afford it. These were crap. Like, they were completely terrible. And all the progressives were like, well, yeah, it's because it doesn't go anywhere. So I don't know. It's like, but a big reason why it doesn't go uptown and why it doesn't go to the burbs is the topography. Like, it's a big hill to get from like at the edge of over the Rhine is a hill. I saw this video on YouTube when I was looking at other Cincinnati videos. It's called like Cincinnati, the city that doesn't go anywhere or something like that. And it was like, it shows this guy does like a Google Earth look at the city, and he shows how the mountains and the river, not the mountains, but the hills kind of like box it in. And it's like, where are you going to go? And so that's he's kind of bashing on the city in that video, but like there are restrictions from a city planning standpoint that keep some growth for sure. Okay. I'm going to have to get going here pretty soon, guys. I got some other stuff to do. James, nice. Thanks, Eric. Wow, that's dirt cheap. I know, $30. Hey, what did I tell you? Yeah, you can do a lot of fun things here for cheap. It's weird. I've lived here my whole life since I was 7. And so for me, I'm just like $30. Ooh, I can't afford that. But for you living in Cape Cod, I mean, that would probably be, I don't know, $100 to do something like that is my guess. Whitney, I kind of like how small the city is. In front of what I see, all the perks of the big one. Yeah, I think on my pros and cons video, that's maybe the biggest one. That's the one I hear maybe most consistently is like, you feel like it feels like a close community, which some people, I mean, close in that it's 2 million people, but like, it's like that Kevin Bacon association game, right? Where it's like, someone who knows someone. And in that way, once you've lived here 10 years, like everyone in the city. If you get out and meet people, but you have the big city amenities. You got the professional sports teams and great restaurants and art. It is. I think that's why I love it. I mean, that's a big reason why I love it is a little bit of both worlds there, or mixing of the two. How long do you have to be an Ohio resident until you qualify for in-state tuition? That I do not know. You'll have to Google that one, James. Is it immediate? I honestly don't know. You have to Google that one. I'll need to figure that out soon. My oldest is 10, and I went to an out-of-state university. I went to Nashville for college and then came back. We have so many Max trains that get us to the loop of our streetcar. I wrote it all the time. Oh, Max trains. Is Max like the name of the system? You wrote it all the time in college. Yeah, I mean, if they had something like that, it'd be different. But that's one of the cons of the city. The public transportation is like, you're riding a bus. There is this thing from Northern Kentucky to Cincinnati that's called like the Southgate Shuttle, I think is what it's called, which is kind of like a trolley. I think that might be free as well. Is that what it's called? I think that's what it's called. South Bank Shuttle. I think that's what it is. But yeah, like, you know, here's what people, it's not trains. It's, you know, it's kind of like busing maps like this. We have so many max trains. Yeah. So the bus system works, but like my wife used to ride the bus to work. We lived out in Anderson Township, and she loved it because she was like, well, you know, for the reasons you love public transportation, you don't have to think about it. You can read, you can listen to something on the way, all that kind of stuff. You don't have to worry about traffic. James, good chatting with you too. Here's hoping we meet up this weekend. Enjoy your day. Thanks for the link. You are totally welcome. You're welcome, Whitney. Awesome chatting with you guys. Max is the above ground subway. Oh, okay. Above ground subway system here in Portland. Cool. Yeah, that would have been awesome to have in college. I'm sure the college students would love to have that here, but they don't. They have the red bike system, and they have the scooters are all over town, like the bird scooters and stuff like that. So, but that doesn't get you out very far. Cool, guys. Awesome chatting with you. Thank you for jumping into the chat. That was super fun. Next week, I'll try not to destroy the scheduled. I don't know if it'll be next week. Hopefully it'll be next week, where we'll get another chat in on here and answer your questions, but enjoyed it. You guys have my email, if you have more questions or think about it, and you need some help moving here, give me a shout. But it's fun to connect with you guys, and hope you have a great day. See ya.